All right, showtime, everybody. Welcome, and let's first start with a sound check. If you can hear me, please drop a note in the chat so I know that volumes are okay. Let's see, there's always a bit of delay. So we're welcoming people from all over the world again. I'm seeing some regulars from Australia and New Zealand. Really awesome of you to be waking up so early. Uh, Audio seems to be great. Thanks a lot, guys. I see Florida. Where are you guys from? UK, United Arab Emirates, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. Holland. Great. Everybody's here. England. That sounds good. Okay. Our voice is reaching over the pond and far beyond, and that's great. Today we're here about mishaps that happen on stage, and I can tell you when you start performing, it's not a question of will things go wrong. No, it's a question of what will go wrong and how many of these things all at once. Um, I did two shows recently, one solo gig and one with my band, and as every show, things go wrong. Sometimes small things, usually small things, sometimes bigger things. And today is about how are we going to deal with that. Um, there's always a connection with previous sessions. You'll notice that some things grab back to the sessions I did about storytelling, confidence, and stage fright. Some about taking control of your song. In this session, you'll see why this can be very useful. Of course, memorization of songs and taking control in those layers and being able to drop back in a level of complexity can help you. As mentioned, a lot of it has to do with managing how you feel on stage. Um, if you start with a negative balance, if you go on stage and you're already very stressed, overwhelmed by stage fright, then you are just allowing bad things to happen on stage as well. Your focus will be on things that shouldn't be focused on, over focusing on things that don't need focus. You might lose confidence because you start to overthink what the audience is thinking of you and how it is going, and this image can be very distorted. How you feel and how you think it's going is usually very different than what the audience thinks that is happening. Um, you have to embrace the fact that you're still human and you're in front of other humans. So if they want to connect, they do not expect a perfect show. Um, and if things go wrong, the way you handle them become a part of what you deliver. Um, so it's not about, of course, you should practice to avoid things going wrong, but the actual show that you bring, part of it is how do you deal with things that happen. Part of it is prepared. 50% is you practice at home, you practice with your band, you rehearse, you start soon enough so that you memorize well enough and you got the control. But the other 50% is just being there and doing the thing, whether things go great or not. So embrace the fact that you'll be making errors, and most of all, learn from them. Um, if you do a self-evaluation after a show, don't be too hard on yourself. There will always be errors, and they will feel huge. But if you can keep the show going, many people won't even notice. Other who do notice, they will, they will think you handle that professionally, that you handle that well, and they will sympathize because if they were ever on stage, they know what it is. They know what it is to be there, and they know this girl, this guy handled it well. So you already got their credit. And for people who don't perform live, you you also got their credit because you're there on stage and they already feel the respect of, oh, that's something you you need some bravery to be out there. You need some bravery to put yourself in a vulnerable position. And as said, vulnerability is a superpower. So use it, harness it, and be there to show it. So what can be a general preparation? As always, the slide deck of what I'm showing here will be available later on, and there will be a checklist included as well. Um, for all the things that can go wrong in the next tips that I will be showing you, you can prepare some scenarios, some things you can you can script with your band or for yourself, that in case certain things go wrong, you can do these things. Like if something goes wrong with one of the guitarists, the drummer and the bassist, they have a little routine, a little jam they can do. And if one of those guys can grab the microphone and tell a little story or something like that, people are entertained. That's something you can script. It can be an instrumental jam that is also the sound check that they do, something like that. So there's always some scenarios that you can think of. Um, Good thing is when something goes wrong and you have some of those scenarios in your pocket. They could be a story, they could be promo for your socials, your website, or to promote your merch stand that it's all in the back of the room there. Um, Bring some stories about an upcoming album, songs you've been recording, how much you like being here in, because the crowd of place X is of course the best crowd that you ever had. They all want to hear that. So that's stuff that you can do. And as I said, a part of it is preparation, and I created a checklist of gear that you can use for every kind of gig that you will be going to, that you can check off. That can be a peace of mind. Um, I always run it in my head about 20 times every time I'm going to show. Did I bring this? Did I bring that? Did I bring a power strip? Will there be this or that? So I kind of made a list, and I thought, yeah, why not just share it with everybody, because it will give you some peace of mind. So there's a lot of categories of things that can go wrong. Something with you, with your instrument, with your voice, um, technical stuff going wrong, but also emotional, feeling overwhelmed, stage fright, or even getting ill. There's some stuff that you can manage, or is harder to manage. Is the all technical stuff around you, your monitors, the speakers from the house, all the stuff the sound guy is managing, practical, and even the environment, even your crowd can turn a bit against you, or being a pain in the ass. So there's ways of dealing with them too as well. For each of these, for these mishaps, I created two things. One, it happens. What do you do? It will be the slide that's noted with the red title. So this suddenly happens. What can you do at this moment? And then the next slide is, what can you do as a preparation to avoid it, or to be able to handle it next time in a better fashion? Um, I think a classic is forgetting lyrics, and I I did so many live shows already, um, singing cover songs, and I seldom forget lyrics for cover songs, because how I memorize them, um, how that is. You can check in the live club, I think, number 20, about memorizing songs. So definitely check that out if you have issues with memorizing songs. But the lyrics I write myself for the band, I find the hardest to remember. Isn't that ironic? So it happened more than often than I'm on stage. Uh, and I think, oh, damn, I'm playing guitar and I'm singing. I think this piece is coming up. How did it start again? Just give me one word and I can do all the rest, but the word isn't coming, so the rest isn't coming either. What do I do? And that's when it happens. First thing you need to do is always stay in the rhythm. I say it, and it's becoming an item, and this time it's early in the show. Rhythm is king. Keep this rhythm going, no matter what happens. And also for the other tips, if you can keep this rhythm going, keep it going. A lot of people won't even notice that something was wrong if they even know the song, perhaps the first time they actually hear it, so they can't even know what's going on. So that's what I mean with, for you it will seem like it's a big issue, but for them it seldom is an actual issue. And if you keep playing it cool, don't go apologizing, don't go cursing or stuff like that. Just keep this rhythm going, and act like you meant to do it, and most people won't even notice it. So what you can do is not to disorient the rest of the band or even yourself is um, when there's a loud band around you, you can vowel around, and this is producing certain sounds that sound like words but actually are, and then you can muffle them a bit, or you can repeat a line that was already there, or some words, and a bit of improv skills, a bit of ad-libbing skills help here. uh, let's say you got a line, and we've been through this before, and then you use through this before again. You kind of forget what's next to it, but I'm going to use this before, and I play with this word and repeat it a few times in a rhythmical fashion, or some of the words people won't even notice. It's just recycling what you just sung. It's a bit of padding, but nobody will actually worry about this. Okay. I've got a question here. Where can we find the gear list? I will link it later on. It is in the slide deck, and the slide deck itself you can find in the link I'm posting now. It should be following. Yes. Um, if if you're playing solo and you forget lyrics, that can be a bigger problem, and that's why having control over the song can really help you. Um, if you know, I'm in a verse now. There is still a bridge, chorus, and a verse coming. I don't know this final. I'm getting doubts about this final verse. I'm going to skip it. Okay, what can I do to gracefully finish up the song? I'll do the bridge, and I'll do the chorus 2 times, one time regular, then with a build up, and then it's over. This is a thought process you need to be able to do while you're performing. So having this control over the song can help you, if necessary, draw back in complexity of your song. Um, you can break a song down there if you want, um, or you can even end the song in on a certain point, and you can easily do that if it was already quite a long song, and it's been going on long enough. I'm getting really unsure about what's happening here. I'm gonna cut it off. Do it in a graceful fashion. um, you can of course improvise lyrics. I've done this before quite a lot of time because I've written the song, and I know it's in a certain it tells a certain story. I know what it is about, and this grabs back to the session about the storytelling and the confidence, where you've written the song in a certain atmosphere, a certain message you want to tell. And for some songs, I have some backup lines that kind of resemble other lines, and they often get back to me. Or I improvise some text, and if I don't make the sentences too long, I have place to put down the words, as long as I keep this rhythm going well. So don't come up with too long of a sentence. Just some basic words can be enough to fill in a blank that was coming up. Don't overdo it. Just a few words, it will do it. Or um, and the line that you're sure of, and let's say it was in the middle of a verse, you've been singing 2 lines, and then you forget what the next 2 lines were. Just continue in instrumental fashion. Keep playing in this rhythm. Okay, I'll play this theme a bit. um, i'll I'll put a bit of dynamics in my strumming, or I'll add a little finger picking in that final line, and then I go into the chorus. People who know the song might notice, but they will not be offended by you doing this. They will be offended if you start cursing, if you stop the song, you start apologizing when you restart a song, or you start doing that. That's when some heads will turn. If you keep this rhythm going, you're probably the one who worries the most at that point, and you shouldn't. So if that happens, there's some stuff that you can do, but of course, what can you do to arm yourself to this stuff? You can improve your control over the song and how well you've memorized this, of course. And for this, I referred to session 20. But it is okay to use some cheats. Remember that, as I said, you are running a show, and what happens in the show is the front. You are in control of what happens in the front, what people see, but also in what people don't see. And with this, I mean a paper on a tactical spot on the floor, a paper on a monitor, a paper on the back of some gear of the bassist. And if you have certain doubts about a part, you can also I've done that before. Use the first words of some lines, um, because when you're hopping around on stage, you often don't have the time to read complete lines as a cheat. But if you see the word and you know this first line started with this word, second line started with this word, it will come to you, and you can make it a part of a routine when you go to the bassist or the other guitarist. You do something silly, and you hold your guitar in your head like that, and you actually read what's, oh yeah, that was on the paper, and you continue. Nobody in the front of your show knows that this happened. Nobody sees that it happens. So it's a lot like the magician show, where this is quite extreme. What happens in the front of them is completely different than what they know they are doing. Um, let's see, there are some questions here. Something about is this assuming you're doing a solo act with a band? Yeah, some of these tips will work better in the band session, in band fashion, and some will be more geared towards the solo act. It all depends on what you're doing. I've got a mixed audience, so I'm trying to suit everybody here. But you'll see that most of these tips are in some way usable in all scenarios. Um, Practicing your ad lib skills or having some safety lines that you can use. Um, Remember that some safety lines that are just pieces of text that that you can blurt out at any time you want in the song, and that can fit everywhere. If you have a verse that consists of 4 lines and you have about 3 verses, that's 12 lines that you can forget, but you can throw in this safety verse if it's something generic and it works and it rhythmically fits, and it can be of some dark and vague philosophical nature. Throw it in. It can be a safety for you. So you're not only managing what happens if an incident happens on stage, you're also providing yourself with some ammo from when that happens, because improvisation is never pure improvisation. Um, if you are improvising over certain chord progression for a scale, you will be doing certain lines, certain note combinations, micro combinations you already did before 100 times, but you're copy pasting them in a certain sequence. The things that you do on stage are the same thing. These are the things that you can also practice in a rehearsal room, at home, or with your band. Uh, the the other classic is, of course, fumbling a chord, and of course I've done this before. And then you see the lead guitarist of the band looking at me. I know, okay, I'm acting on casual. Um, if you're playing solo and you fumble a chord, uh, that's a lot more obvious. Once again, keep on strumming. Even if you're actually strumming the fumbled chord a few times, um, keeping that rhythm is still more important information than what you're actually playing. You can go smoothly, try to go into some more kind of a muted fashion of this chord. um, you can try to um, change the dynamic of the song, and gradually go into that chord by slowing down, or another way, uh, throwing in a dramatic pause. Something I've done before as well. I was in the middle of a song, and I was in the middle of a chord progression, and I fumbled a chord, and I was this disoriented that I didn't know where to go. So I grabbed, I don't know, I think it was just the chord of the key it was in. Let's say it was C major. I did a long strum of a C major, and I continued just vocally, just a cappella. And I finished the line, just singing it to the point where I could pick up again. And I know, okay, the next line starts on C again, and I know it's coming, and I'm still in the beat. I keep the rhythm going because I'm singing in the right rhythm, and I'm back in. Not only did I keep the rhythm going, I made a part of the show of it. It made it kind of dramatic that I changed the whole dynamic of the song by slamming that chord and then creating the silence where I only did the vocal thing. That's something you can definitely practice at home. So why not? Um, what I also did is some fake strumming that is easy when you are in a band, not if you're playing solo, of course. Um, if you if you share some jobs with the lead guitarist, then you can mimic at a certain point that you are actually playing the same thing as he's doing, but you're actually just gently strumming a muted chord and you're actually not really playing that loud. But the vibe is going, and I know this is where I can drop in, and song is going again. Um, as I mentioned here, distract attention. That's what I mean with I change the dynamic of the song, and I use my fumble by exaggerating it and creating a break out of it. Um, of course, just important that you come in on the right points. Uh, and here I mentioned if you are doing something complex, if you know where you are in the song, you can drop a layer or two in complexity. And by this, I mean if you are doing some chord variation of something, it was a kind of finger picking pattern where you evolve around the B minor seven, doing stuff like that. Then you know that if you keep in rhythm and you go back to the basic form of that chord being a regular B minor and you strum this in the rhythm and you know where to kick in again, nobody will even notice. So that's why you always need to know what you are playing on top of which basic chords, because these basic chords will often be your safety net in these kind of situations. So, as somebody says, if everyone is enjoying the gig, they don't really notice the mistake. And that's very important. That is the storytelling that you do, that is the human factor of what you do. Um, if you keep this rhythm going and most people having a good time, they won't even notice, or and if they notice, they will certainly forgive you and they will have respect for you that you know how to handle it. uh, just stay professional. Don't apologize because that's when you draw attention to it, but also don't complain. Stay humble. Staying humble is part of being vulnerable on stage. It's always the safest thing to, when you are vulnerable, to stay humble and work from that position. So, um, it's kind of skipping. Oh yeah, the how can you prepare for such things? You can. Well, it is jumping too far. How can you prepare? Um, you can distract yourself in practice by trying to follow a TV program or listening along to another song while you are playing something and you actually fumble, or by start to walk around while you play guitar and you try only to step on the dark tiles in your kitchen, stuff like that. Everything you can imagine walking around in your home is will take more of you than you think while you're playing guitar and you actually try to do a chord progression. If this happens, you usually stop playing guitar. And this is where you need to step over that hurdle and try to keep on playing. If this is just the same chord for a while, that's okay. if you keep this rhythm and you just hang on a certain chord on a place where you need to go forward and you're playing solo, so you have the space, then you can do this. Keep doing that. It is better to keep that rhythm than to stop. So there's some tricks you can use to practice this, and if you even train more in this, you can pick up on the progression that you were playing. Another tip I will give you later is always bring water on stage. I'll never forget that, but because it's so important. And be aware of key points in the song, which are important turnarounds, which are safe points to work towards. If you leave an open section with a dramatic break, or you're strumming a certain chord towards it, you know, this is where I can pick up again. Know where these points are, how they start, which chord, of course. You will be breaking strings live. Everybody will. It will occur. It will occur. Everybody will suffer from string breakages on stage. In some cases, you will be able to keep on playing. If it's at your top string or lowest string, keep on playing. Especially if you're in a band, people will seldom actually notice that you broke a string. Just don't just try to avoid the string you were playing that is broken. If you're playing solo, that will be a harder thing to do. If you're quite accomplished, then you know several chord voicings. If you used to play a G, an open G all over the neck, you break your bottom string, that could be an issue. But then, you know, I can also play it as a power chord. The voicing sounds a bit higher. Does that work or not? Some cases it does, some it won't. Keep playing if you can. If you can't, you need to change. But the show needs to keep going, and this is where those practice moments can pick up. If you have a bandmate who is quite fluent on stage and a microphone, then you know, yo, Joe, your time to do some promo. Got a broken string. Let's do this. This is a good time. Tell them about the merch and socials, stuff like that. Um, Easiest way to change a string is grab a backup guitar. This is the main reason why I bring a backup guitar. Not because I'm afraid that my guitar will break down, but if I break a string, the easiest thing to do is to grab another guitar. Just make sure that you tune it right before the show. Don't forget this, because if you're already a bit pumped up by stress, this happening, and then you need to tune 6 strings again. If it's a guitar you haven't played a lot, then it takes a bit longer. Perhaps you even break a string on that guitar because it's that old. Make sure that it's not old rusty strings on there. Um, so that's the fastest thing that you can do. Create some distraction, and if you can, keep the song going. Switch guitar and come in on the right moment again. If you're in a band, that's possible. If you're playing solo, that's what happens. If you don't have a backup guitar, and you're still in the middle of your show, you're going to need to change the string. That's why it's such an important skill for you to do. It won't be your best string change ever, but you need to be able to develop at least a bit of fluency in it. So always pack some extra strings. Do so for your fellow guitarists there as well, or even guys in another band. You never know. It doesn't take any space, and it's always nice for them to know that you actually got backup strings for them as well. Um, work on your string changing. Work on your string changing skills. That's quite a combination. Um, it is useful, of course, when you're not performing as well. But imagine not having a spare guitar. Um, how much winds do you need to have a good string change? Is it stable? You don't go winding 100 winds. That won't be necessary. Make sure that you pull the string a few times when you do that. So make sure that you have a routine that you can go through and change that string if you can. Um, when I started play live, string breakages often were the result of me being playing too powerful, being in the moment, being going all out and just slamming that guitar and breaking strings. I had to work on my technique to avoid this. I had to find a way to be energetic with my body while keeping some control, not moving my hand these distances, but keeping in control and not slamming and pulling these strings too hard. Uh, and I found it harder than I first thought. That in this area, I needed to be in control, and I needed to find a way to be powerful without breaking strings, while I need to be moving. I need to be a bit grotesque because on stage you have to exaggerate everything you do. Think of the old Romans and Greeks and Japanese theater where they need to reach people all the way in the back. And that's why they have these big masks with expressive faces and they do these very big movements. Uh, you'll see that on stage it is less awkward than if you would do it in front of somebody. You need to reach a lot of people, so you need to amplify not only your sound but also your expressions. Everything needs to be amplified. But I'm digressing. Work on your technique. Um, if you break strings often, it could be good to check your guitar. It could be that the part where your string goes into your guitar over an edge to the back, especially if you got these strings that go through your guitar. It could be that they are rubbing against the sharp edge, and if you always break your strings at that point, uh, that could be the case. And um, bringing this to your guitar tech or doing some filing yourself can solve that. What I found was very useful is I happen to have a guitar here. Is these things here? These are special saddles, Graphtec, I think. They're not that cheap, I'm afraid, but I noticed that they work. They work well. They work well. Um, they are not, of course, no wonder solution for string breakages, but they brought down string breakages for me. All right. Mr. On Time says our drummer had special fills for the end of long instrumentals. Need to remind the vocals to come in. Yeah, cue points. Cue points are an important part of songs in general, especially if certain uh, somebody in your band has a long piece, a long solo piece, or you got a long instrumental going on. You can you can condition the band by having a certain fill that always comes up that okay, this is where I need to have attention, and we all fill in. So yeah, certain fills that are the same, of course, can help finding that spot. What can happen? Yeah, your string can break, but your voice can break as well. And this is more common than you think because in many cases, this is caused by you pushing too hard. It could be that you're perfectly prepared to sing a whole gig, but you notice that you're having issues somewhere in the middle of the gig and you can't figure out why that is. In many cases, that is because you are pushing yourself, and that, on the other hand, is caused often by you not hearing yourself well enough. And what you'll do, your unconscious thinks, I can't hear myself. I'll need to sing a bit louder. But usually that is not a problem. Usually the problem is if there is a monitor, it is not correctly set up for you. You did a sound check and it was okay, but now that the band is playing extra fast and extra loud, you're actually not hearing yourself well, and you start to yell over it, and you start to feel that your voice is breaking down. If this happens, first of all, you need to think, am I hearing myself well enough? Am I pushing this gig so that oh, next step needs to compensate for that. I'll need to contact the sound guy. I'll need to check out that I lower intensity for myself, stuff like that. And if you're playing solo and you're playing with a capo, it's usually less training to drop a key, drop a half a tone or full tone. And if you have some capo margin, then you can do that. Um, by capo margin, I mean, imagine you play and sing a certain song on capo 5, capo setting 5. That means that if you feel your voice is too strained to actually reach the notes when playing on capo 5, you have some capo margin by setting it on 4 or 3. That could be more comfortable for you. So that's why it's also useful to practice some songs, not always in the same key, but if you have capo margin like this. Um, and that is a check I often do before gigs when I'm having a cold or I'm not feeling that well. I My set list always has the number of the capo position next to the song. But if I feel if I'm not feeling that well, I check out before the gig, am I comfortable singing this song, or do I need to adjust capo position for today? Um, know what variations you can use. Perhaps you need to switch from there on to a bit toned down version, less extreme of what you're doing. Um, Having these in your pocket, having these prepared helps, of course, but perhaps just lowering the intensity, making the assessment on the right time that your voice is breaking down can help as well. If it's if your voice is really gone, there's no use. Then you'll have to be clear. Then you'll have to manage expectations. Either know which songs you can do solo or with your band, songs that require less of you, and adapting there on the spot the set list for the coming songs. Or perhaps you even need to cancel, wrap it up right there, and be honest with that. Be honest with that. Let's hope that never happens to you. It didn't happen to me yet. I had occurrences of me pushing too hard. I had occurrences of me toning down. I had occurrences of me taking a lower capo position. Um, Keep drinking water, of course. Adjust intensity. It can all help you there. Um, So make sure you have water on stage. Make sure that if you do sound check, that you have the monitor checked out for you, that you can hear yourself well. If you play with a band, make sure you sound check with everybody, and a song that's not too soft, something powerful. Um, that you know that, oh, when it really matters, I can hear myself, because when it really matters, those are usually the parts where you have to bring most power, where you have to bring most intensity. So make sure that these moments, you don't need to push your voice. If you can, sing from what I call from memory. There have been occurrences where I couldn't hear myself, but I learned to know how it feels to sing on the correct pitch. I know that's perhaps hard to explain, and it takes a bit of experience. If you play the song many times, you know what that means, and that means that you actually recognize how it feels when you are on pitch. If you can achieve this, then you have kind of a backup, but that's kind of a long shot already. Um, so make sure that you do you gain all the small stuff that you can. Having a good posture, having that water there, making sure that you do the good breathing. Know that if you have a good posture and do the right breathing from the diaphragm and stuff like that, and not from the throat, then you automatically gain a lot of stability. You need to bring less power to have the same result. Your pitch will be more steady. One of the reasons why I always recommend people to stand up while they sing and play guitar. Um, If it's just guitar, they probably get away by standing down, of course. But if you sing, standing up, having the right posture with your legs, with your shoulders, with your arms will help. Um, there's a live club up on singing with or without a guitar that covers a lot of tips that can help you with that. All right, a lot of tips all already. So another classic is playing too fast or too slow. Many times, drummer of the band kicks in, or I play a song, I kick in, it's too fast. Um, then you need to decide: am I going to keep playing it at this speed? Is it manageable or not? So you need to be able to assess: I can do it. I'm gonna I'm gonna make it, or I'm gonna take a chance. Um, it is easier to accelerate the tempo than slow it down. It is easier to start slow, and you can turn that into some kind of quiet intro, and gradually you think, oh, I was a bit slow. I'm going to play that intro part again, or I'll start with an instrumental verse and then gradually I start speeding up. And this, and okay, this was the vibe. This was it. This is where I need to be. And then you start the song. Slowing down is harder. You can learn to slow down, and you can actually practice that with your band um, and yourself. But it takes some time. I think it's less it's less awkward for the crowd to accelerate in a song than to slow down. So keep note. Um, but if you're going really really fast, you can try. I put it here, the long chord strum break. It's something you can do if you fumble the chord. The thing of I'm going fast and then I'm just doing a long slam of a chord. Uh, I'm adding in a dramatic pause, or I'm turning this as a pre-intro, and then I start a regular intro. Perhaps you need to adapt this second intro a bit, that it is not too similar to the first one, because then it might be awkward, and then you have a certain dynamic in your song. Or the other way around, when you're way too slow, you can think, okay, let's just keep this mellow vibe, and I'll throw in some extra notes, and I'll make it a gentle flow, and then I keep a long note going, and then I start the song as I should have done. And there's nobody that's actually going to bother. Nobody is going to be bothered about this. It will be all in your head. Uh, Make sure that you turn it in some kind of different intro, but act fast. Don't try this stuff in the middle of a song, or it will be a lot harder to manage, and it will also people are used to the rhythm by then. If you're doing this in the middle of a song, they will feel it. They will be shocked. You don't keep this main rhythm going. If you can manage that early on, it can be still the primordial soup of the song forming, stuff like that. You can actually use that setting, and by adding these dynamics, you're turning it in a part of the show as well. You're actually prolonging an intro with a bit of extra, and this extra can be some kind of dynamic strumming. It could be a bit of finger picking. It could be you asking the crowd, hey, how is everybody in town X doing, and stuff like that. It's another time to communicate with the crowd, telling them how great they are, how much you love being there. Thank you, sound guys. You've been awesome so far. Let's knock it out of the park. All these situations where things go wrong are opportunities for you to make it a part of the show. Um, so having some stock lines to do that is no wrong. People don't know what your stock lines are. People do not know which card you have in your pocket, and you can pull out and say, how's everybody doing? The driest, simplest classic, but can be other stuff as well. Um, let's see. So playing too fast. I mentioned nonverbal communication. If you're playing in a band and you're going pretty fast, and you look around you to the rest of the guys, You will probably notice on their faces if something is wrong. If you're going too fast, you will see panicking faces, and we need to slow you down. And if you have a certain convention to communicate with your drummer to slow it down, or to if he can understand you, or she figure something out, um, that sounds it's important not for you to communicate with your bandmates, but also the sound guy to have a certain convention. Uh, like probably often means the monitor. I need more of myself in the monitor, stuff like that. So those are conventions, uh, nonverbal communication you can decide on before a gig, while practicing, while meeting the sound guy before a gig. So remember, it's only awkward when you make it. If you can make it a part of the show in the front, try to turn it around. If you're with a band, that is harder, of course, because you are supposed to follow the structure of a song, or people will be disoriented. If you're solo, you need to manage it alone, but you have all the space in time to manage this. So remember, manage it early, and excuse me, have some backup ideas on what to fill in. Um, we figured out that if we let our drummer do a 4 count of him hitting uh, like a hi hat or something, it is so standard, and there's nothing wrong with that doing live, and nobody will be bothered that you do that for each song. Au contraire, it is actually a cue for them. People are so conditioned to that that you got their attention to the start of the song. So imagine you were tuning something, somebody needed to tune. It's more work than you anticipated, and people start to turn to each other and start a little chat or something. But as soon as this drummer does this 4 count, it's the ideal time for somebody to turn his head and to be focused again, and bam, song. The whole room is yours again. You got their attention, and go. So there's nothing but opportunity in doing this 4 count. If you have some kind of long atmospheric one instrument intro, this 4 count can be a bit awkward to do. Um, in all other cases, why wouldn't you use it? Figure out, is it really awkward to do the 4 count? Um, no. Okay, let's do this. It's cool. If you're playing solo, having some kind of reference beat in your head can be a good preparation. Um, Singing it in your head and really physically doing the tapping with your foot or your hand um, affirms your physical link with the rhythm of the song. There's nothing wrong with, uh, and I have often seen musicians do this if they play solo, is tapping their foot, or I see them nodding or stuff like that. It's because they are looking for this rhythm. In your own mind, it will feel like it takes 100 years of you on stage and people looking at you doing this. Uh, it is nobody will be bothered, and only a few will even notice. So once again, all the things that you think on stage are far less have far less impact than you actually think. Our drummer can't count to 4. Well, I can imagine that your choice of time signature is rather limited. So I'm very curious to hear what your band does. That can be an issue. There's, of course, different sound and tech that can go wrong as well. Um, if something technical goes wrong, assess the issue. Should we go on, or should we just stop and communicate with the sound guy? Um, I've seen both cases a lot. It is hard to turn it into a part of a show if you are one bothered by it and the crowd is also bothered by it. So it's better to act quick once again. stop the song, be able to communicate to the rest of your band to stop the song. By the way, it looks very professional if you manage to stop a song uh, altogether. So if you find a way that I'm deciding now that we should stop the song, if you can find a way your band to do this, and there's only a second or two going on before you actually quit, before a silence is there, it looks very professional. It means that, oh, they are well prepared for this situation. They know when to stop. And if that means you have to say this in the microphone and make yourself big towards your bandmates, that it's clear, but your bandmates stop, it gives a very professional impression. Having to stop because of technical issues, because everybody's bothered, then there's no use of continuing the song because nobody is getting better and happy from it. Try to stop in a firm fashion and communicate with your sound guy, or is there something going wrong in the band? It could be that um, you started the wrong song. In that case, you need to be able to decide we're going to play this song, and it happened to us before, and we turned it in part of the show. We started a song that we weren't going to play that show, but we did it anyway, and that because of the time frame we couldn't play a song that we were going to play, but we kept on going. We thought, okay, we started this song, we know how to play it. Three of us four knew that we weren't actually going to play this, but now that we're doing it, let's do it in the best fashion that we can. So no use of looking unprofessional on stage and doing awkward signs to each other, and nobody in the crowd knows that you weren't going to play that song. Act like you meant to do it once again. If you do something silly and you can act as you meant to do it, do it. Don't apologize, don't curse, stay humble, and do it. That's in many cases the best thing to do. If you need, if you do need to halt it, be able to communicate in a concise manner with the sound guy, stay professional, limit yourself to the facts, and only that. To your bandmates as well. It could be that you were having an argument with one of your bandmates right before the gig. This is not the time to assert dominance in your band. Now it's about getting the show on the road again and speaking facts and just that, and try to get this show on going. Um, Communicating in a professional fashion will only give the professional impression to your audience. So even that is an opportunity. If something goes that wrong and you need to stop a song, know to act professional then. So that's something that if it happens in a solo gig, if you need to stop a song because of certain issues, um, also be able to communicate with your audience, manage expectations. Tell them what went wrong. If you started a song in the wrong pitch, or you start a song that you already played before, perhaps it happened to me before. In the middle of a gig, I start to play a song that I already played about 5, 6 songs before that, and I made a joke out of it. I stopped, said, "Oh, guys, I already played this song. Are you even paying attention? Why don't you tell me?" So that was not I brought it as a joke. It was not in a patronizing fashion or something like that. No, I did it like a joke, and I got away with that by making a joke. But I was actually saying, "Oh, okay, that was very silly of me. Why am I playing this song? Well, things go wrong. Okay, no, this was a song I meant to play. Okay, let's go." And all was good. But these things will happen someday to you, I'm sure. So if you can handle them with a joke, okay. If you're not that kind of a jokester on stage, have some stock phrases, as I said. Um, there are things that you can prepare that you know if this happens, I'll say this. If this happens, said this. And just being honest, being yourself, using that vulnerability, which is a superpower, and saying, "Oh, um, I it appears that I started to play a song that I already played. Um, I'm not going to bore with you. I'm not going to bore you guys with that again. Look, I'm joking again. It's my style. Find your own style and keep true to that style. If you're not a jokester, don't try to be a jokester. If you're not really an entertainer, be short, be concise, be fair, be um, be vulnerable. Don't don't act like something you don't want to be. People need to connect with you. If something happened like that, but they can connect with you because you're authentic, all will be good. I assure you. See you, Mark. See you, Mark. Thanks for being here. Um, so for gear, you can have gear issues of all nature. So being able to stop a song in the middle if that happens, but you can prepare, of course. Um, the checklist that is linked in this slide deck, I will post it again, by the way, features quite some backup gear. In many cases, you won't need everything that is on this list, but it can help you going, giving you some peace of mind. If you bring backup gear, keep it simple, especially if you bring a lot of backup gear. Um, you're already stressed if you need it. The moment you need your backup gear, that means that you're already in a situation where you're quite stressed. So what do? Grab something that's very intuitive. My backup gear consists of a small amp that's very simple. It only has a few buttons and it does the high gain sound for my band. So if my guitar sound fails, I grab this and I know that it has a speaker out, it has a direct out. I just have to turn two knobs. I even put markers on them with tape. So I know this knob needs to go here, this knob needs to go here. These are the things I need to connect. It's simple. I'm ready to go again. If you need to figure out and set up things, that's even worse. If you need to set up certain things or configure um, presets and stuff like that, then then you're lost. You will these things will you will be able to do them at home, but I can assure you, if you're under stress, it is so much harder to do it, and things will go wrong that never go wrong. I assure you that. So keep it simple with your gear. And you should always talk with a sound guy if there is one. Um, come to a show early, try to figure out who it is. First, go meet him or her. Later on, and manage expectation. When can we go over the set and the gear and stuff like that? Try to adjust to his timetable. That's why you need to be early. That if he wants to handle you first, then you're already there. Um, and establish this convention. Um, okay, what do I do if there's something wrong with the monitor? What if I do if something goes wrong with the general sound? Stuff like that. Make some conventions um, about the signaling that you will do. It can only help. Um, I mentioned here to tape off buttons that you don't need. If you can somehow um, make sure that you can turn off buttons on your gear that you don't need, or you can tape them off, put put little cardboard things over it and tape that you can even touch them, and you create markers with tape that show you where to put certain settings. It all speeds up the changeover to your backup gear or even your regular gear when you're setting up live, because many stages it's quite dark. um, Excuse me, and you might have issues even finding your settings. So a lot of things. There are some more tips on stuff like this in the slideshow. Like I can hear myself what to do, and of course there's the mental part. Here I mostly refer to the stuff that I've been over in session 19 about uh, the rituals that you can do, certain posture, mindfulness, breathing, stuff like that, to manage your stage fright and your pacing and your storytelling. So for these things, go through the other sessions and the slide deck. What to do when ill, for example. Okay, we. I'm going now for an hour. Um, it is time for some Q&A. Are there certain situation where you think this happened to me, I didn't know what to do, or do you need some extra ideas or explanation on something that happened to you? You managed it, but it wasn't too well. Let me know here in the comments. One time says any advice of balancing over enthusiastic security versus letting people have a good time in the pit. Um, those are the bigger, more advanced stuff for bigger shows on um, how to manage security. Security is usually um, managed by the venue or the organization that does the show at the venue. If you bring your own security because you're a big enough show, you can manage it. Otherwise, you need to find out who the people are that manage the security. And you need to, the better you can manage expectations, in more detail, the better. If you can say, this is our set list, this is where we will ask people to start a circle pit, this is where we ask them to crowd surf. Is it okay to crowd surf? Is it not? Can we make an exception to do this only for this song? Stuff like that. You'll get less issues with a good contract with a good relation with these people. Keep in mind, people got to be entertained. Jim Lynch says they have to enjoy yourself, not find criticism. It has to be really bad and often for people to walk out and complain. Yes, uh, that echoes what I said in the beginning of the show. Um, you, as soon as you walk on stage, you are an entertainer. Music is your vessel, but your main goal there, being there on stage, is to entertain people. You're not only doing that with music, you're doing this with everything that you do. You come on stage. How do I come on stage? It's already starting to set your image. You bring some music, how you bring this music, how this set is built up, how your story works, what you tell in between, what you share about songs, how vulnerable you are, or what kind of show and humor and gimmicks you bring. It's all part of this big thing we call entertainment, and this is why people get out of their house to be entertained. They either get entertained by television or they come to see you. So keep that in mind. Your music is a vital part of what you're doing there, your front show, but it is not everything. There is more than just that. And being you, being authentic, and people being able to feel that is very valuable in this. If you're not the big talker, not the smooth guy or girl, you're not the jokester, but you find a way to bring songs that you feel and you can bring to the outside to these people as you feel them and reach them with this feeling, with this authenticity. This is also entertainment. This is very powerful entertainment, even because humor can be a and show can be a safe barrier, but being able to be vulnerable and convey that to people, that is really powerful. This is how you make a very strong connection with your crowd. Okay, dealing with aggressive drunk audience members. Yes, um, we have dealt with these before. Once again, if you are a good jokester, then it is easy, of course. But um, that's why knowing which people you can count on before uh, and having this contact with people that is their security. Uh, who can I count on to check or even watch over my gear? Um, we have stages where there's a lot of people and we don't have good spots to safely put our gear while we are playing. Who can you ask to actually uh, watch your gear? Um, what are the safety precautions? Can We are usually very careful. Also, can people spill their beers over our gear and stuff like that? So these are all things you need to do before the show. Making arrangements with the right people, knowing who to ask, what to ask, and when it happens when you're in a situation you are not feeling secure. It is not a sign of weakness um, to briefly stop there and to communicate about this. This is also a sign of being a professional. Um, Take a look at all those big bands that have issues with guys going on stage. In some rare cases, it's very entertaining that they let them sing, but they will they you see that they have made a big sacrifice of letting these people on stage and grab the microphone, because check their eyes, check their look. They're they are counting down to the second that this guy is off the stage. But usually they signal security. You see them looking left, you see them looking right. If you have to signal them yourself, as soon as you feel insecure, you need to halt this. um, you can do this in a professional manner, and you're not a wuss if you do this. No, you're a professional if you do this right. Once again, don't complain, don't curse, all these things. Stay humble, but ask for help for the right people that you can, and be firm in your communication. Okay. Let's see. Are there some other questions here? Oh, related to that, you have audience members that will yell things to you. You have audience members that um, and I see my camera is frozen. I'm not sure. Let's see. One moment, please. Okay, but I'll have to continue with audio from here. I'm sorry for that. Um, so you can have hecklers on stage as well, hecklers in your audience. Once again, you have to be concise with them. If you can make a joke, uh, that's better. But they will, if you actually make them a part of your show, they will feel like it's their duty to continue doing that. They think, oh, it was funny and the artists liked it, and I continue to do that. I actually add something to the show, and how more drunk the people are, the more they will do that. So we have to manage expectations by making sure that it is not appreciated. But once again, not by being patronizing, not cursing or complaining. Um, you will you if necessary, you will have to ask them not to bother the show, and you need to check the room. You need to see how other people are reacting to this person. If they find this person uh, very obnoxious, you need you need to find a way to use that standpoint, because it's not you versus the crowd. It's actually you and the crowd versus this one guy, and you need to figure a way. um, if you see that somebody is really annoyed, you can say, "Oh, look, not only me, but these people around you are bothered by what you're doing," and stuff like that. Or, "No, I won't be playing Happy Birthday. I prepared a special show for everybody here, and I would like to continue bringing it to people who are actually enjoying it." Stuff like this, and start playing again. If it keeps doing that, you can firmly and politely ask this person to stop. And if he keeps doing that, you can actually ask if there is security or people from the organization to please remove this person. Um, because by this point, I'm pretty sure the crowd won't find it fun anymore. And you will once again earn their respect by handling it professionally, and by ensuring that you can continue your entertainment for these people as soon as you can, of course. All right. Let's see. Is there a question that I missed, because I'm working without a without an moderator here today, so I'm gonna briefly go over the gear list. Yes, the gear list is in the slides that I link now. Once again, the link should be working. For capo. Somebody mentions for the capo, the opposite is also true. When we are nervous or excited, we can lose our local vocal register. That didn't happen to me. That it needs to work in the other way. That I actually need to move up the capo. Um, but there have been moments where I thought it's going really well. This song where I was on the border of capo 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure I can go for 5 today. Let's see. Let's see. We had the drummer that couldn't count to 4. That was hilarious, of course. Okay, very sorry about the camera freezing, of course. Any singing tips? Yeah, one, please revisit the live club that was about actual singing. Perhaps I will be doing that in one of the following live clubs, perhaps next month or the month after that. Um, what can I for singing stuff that goes wrong? Usually it is forgotten lyrics or your voice flipping out. If you miss a note, um, you sing a note flat, or you miss a big interval or stuff like that. Once again, you need to get going. um I missed notes. um Playing more and more live will train you in managing your voice. And once again, posture is and technique for singing is very important. You don't need to be a very trained singer in able to bring songs well. Bringing and singing songs well is not only about how big of a range you have, um, or how experienced you are in singing, but it is knowing what fits best to your voice. Um, and when that is the case, there is also a live club about transposing with or without a capo. Most important thing is if you are playing solo, but also in a band, if the band can manage it, the song should fit your ideal vocal range for that song. If you can't transpose a song to the ideal range for you, do this. It is a benefit for everybody in the audience and for yourself. You will be able to bring the best version of the song. You need to figure out which are the lowest part, the highest part. How does my voice overlaps with this the best, and sing in that range. You can work on that at home, trying to, let's say, if you think I'd like to do this a bit higher or a bit lower, train on this one semitone at a time, but always bring to the crowd your best version, not your highest version, because you might think singing higher is always better because it's more impressive. No, your voice has a certain range where it feels at home, and you can have the best expressive nuances. Bring the audience this. The audience needs to be entertained. It could be that you actually sing a certain song a lot lower than the original, but it allows you to do other things that the original doesn't have. So you're not breaking down the quality of the song. You're actually improving it and bringing the best version that you can do because you fit it to your range. So sing in your range, be able to transpose to that. Mind your posture. If you are a singing guitarist, my best tip is always, always, always stand up if you can. If you can strum that well while doing this, I strongly suggest you practice it, because standing gives you the biggest instant win in stability and range that requires months of training your voice. While if you do this by standing up instead of sitting down, it will be easier to fix your posture and it will be easier to expand your range. All right. Jeremy says, think I've broken. That's not really a sentence, I'm afraid. But my learning says, if I have anxiety and become nervous, well, there is a live club, I think number 19, that handles a lot of this. But if you follow this session, remember that I talked about routines. Remember what your routines are. Your routines, your ritual, as I call them, are a stack of habits, and they are all functional, or they either bring down your heart rate, they either fix your posture. And my little ritual is check my feet. Are they slightly apart? Okay. Loosen my shoulders, let my arms hang and my shoulders loose. Yes. Am I doing that? Is my head straight up? Do I imagine that I'm pulling my head with an invisible string, so I feel actually lightness in my back because I lift my body without tensioning my shoulders, um, and have a good breathe in, have a good breathe out. Um, it could be that I described a 4-7-8 breathing technique and stuff like that, and staccato breathing that can help you with that, but that might take too long as your ritual in between songs. So be mindful of those. Doing these stuff and will actually help you being mindful in feeling where you are. What do I see? What do I smell? Do I feel the ground under my feet? Am I stable? Those can all be part of your ritual, your stack of little habits that you do to literally and figuratively ground yourself again on stage. All right. Um, let's wrap this up for today. I'll drop the link one final time here. Um, let's see. There you go. Thank you for appreciating these lessons. I really enjoy bringing this to you. An hour is always that short. My learning says what could be our main focus. I don't really understand that. If you have more questions or more situations, um, mail them to me. Uh, let's see. There's the slide deck has some more tips up. It's not completely known. Recap here is, remember what I said in the beginning, you can prepare, but there's always a big chunk of being there, bringing the show, and handling what's going on. So put effort in adaptability as well. Don't just try to strive for perfection and actually think that you can reach perfection on stage, because it will never happen. So put some effort in adaptability as well, because that's the main theme of what I've been talking about today, is this adaptability. So incorporate stuff in your show if you can. If you fumble a chord, make it a long theater theatrical theater. That word is too hard for me. Well, make it a big show of doing that one big strum, drop a break in the song, do an a cappella continuation, and grab the song again, grab control again, and you make part of a show by this dramatic element. So always try to figure out how can I incorporate this mishap in my show. All right. So remember to keep it real, keep it human, connect with your crowd, be authentic, be vulnerable, be polite. Don't be rude. Don't be commenting. Don't have comments on what's going on. It's all signs of professional. If you're playing a certain venue, they will not remember which mistakes you made. They remember that you handled things professionally, and that's why they will call you again later. All right. Okay, one more question. When we are on stage or practicing vocal at home, there are many things going on, like vocal birth control and lyrics. What could be the main focus? How can I handle everything together? Well, that is the art of performance. Now you're asking me, how do I pour the essence of the art of performance into one piece of advice? It is actually the combination of all these things. Um, I can answer these questions in a few this question in a few line. Um, when being on stage and singing or at home, remember that you need to bring the best version, uh, and practice a lot. In the memorization class, I said that as well. It is better to practice just a tiny bit every day than doing just one practice session in the weekends, and you're straining yourself. Um, put 5 minutes of practice every day in your schedule. In most cases, you'll do more than just 5 minutes. But the most important thing is that you condition your body. Singing is also a lot of conditioning of your body. So enjoy singing. Also enjoy singing easy things. Don't only sing on your limits. Enjoy the easy things. Try to put some stuff yourself in the easy things, and so you expand them. And sing a lot. Enjoy singing. Sing a lot. Don't do too long of sessions. Drink a lot of water. Um, and this will ingrain songs in your memory, but it will also condition your body into singing. Singing will come more and more naturally to you if you do it every day, even if it is only one or two songs. Okay. And this is where I really wrap up. I see you guys next time. Always a pleasure of meeting you. So there is the link to the gear list, the checklist in the slide deck. Um, I mentioned some related live collabs, even more that are mentioned here. If you have ideas about a next club, like mentioned here, about singing or something else, let me know. My email address is leven@justinguitar.com. If you have some more questions or you want to check out what kind of role I could play in some personal one-on-one coaching for you, let me know. Leven@justinguitar.com. I have students that do one-off sessions to get on the road again because they're stuck on a plateau. Um, I got students that check in once in a while. I have students that do a session in a regular fashion. So there's always a possibility for you on how you see this working. And he's Alex. Alex, thanks for being here once again. See you around. All right. See you guys next time. Keep an eye on your email and the website for a new date. There's no new one announced yet, but I'm sure that will follow soon. Bye bye.